It started recording without me doing anything. Being the main character, isn't that a great way to look at your life? You are in the center and everyone else around you is either a secondary character or an extra. Everything goes your way and you always get what you want. Wouldn't life be amazing like this? But life is not like this. In reality, you can do what you want, but no one else really cares. The thing is, thinking of yourself as a main character is not about feeling special or important, but rather about making your life a little bit more colorful, where you are not on your 9 to 5 or at exam season in your school, but as your favorite character playing in your own favorite movie. This certainly makes your life a bit more interesting. But why don't we enjoy living our daily lives? Why isn't the mundane appealing to us? And why are we so obsessed with escaping reality? That's what we're going to talk about in this video. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. I've missed you. And if you're new here, it's so nice to finally meet you. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I don't have much to say honestly, so let's just get right into it. Main character syndrome is not an official clinical diagnosis or a mental health disorder. It is mainly a term used in popular culture to describe someone who sees themselves as the main character of their own lives, in usually a self-absorbed way. It's as if you saw your life as a performance, which can be a little negative to others around you. However, nowadays we don't see this term being used with this worse connotation. In fact, it is seen as a good thing to think of yourself as the main protagonist of your story. It simply means that you do what you want, you put yourself first, and live freely of others' judgment. Even though this can sound a little bit narcissistic, it is more of a way to cope with the adversities of life and to give a more creative outlook. And humans have always done this. Think religions, myths, epics, fairy tales, they're all templates of stories where you can insert yourself and view yourself as the hero or martyr of your own story. And this is an actual concept in psychology called self-mythologizing. Self-mythologizing is a process of creating a personal narrative or a self-myth to make sense of life and of one's identities and experiences. And this on its own, it's a great way to never let yourself down. If you believe you are in some way meaningful and your life has some importance, this can help you get through the toughest moments. I mean, that's the whole reason why people believe in religion, for example. This connects directly to narrative identity theory. This theory is about how humans make sense of their lives by turning them into stories. We take our memories, our dreams, and even our traumas, and we stitch them together into narratives where we are the protagonist. It's how we build identity through the stories we tell ourselves about who we are. So when people talk about being the main character, they're not entirely wrong. We are the main characters of the narratives we construct internally. Now, the issue is not about just creating the story, but when this story becomes a little bit more comforting than reality itself. And when that happens, we can start living for the plot instead of actually ourselves. And I think this is something that a lot of us nowadays can relate with. I personally have been through this. I remember when 2024 started, there was a trend that was like for the plot 2024, where we were going to do everything for the plot in that year. That was just a year ago. And even myself at the time, I was like doing things and thinking of things about, oh, this is for the plot, or this is to build my lore. And everything that happened to me, I would think of it as, oh, this is so cool, instead of like processing actually what was going on, either good or bad. Like, you need to process your emotions and your experiences. You can't just go through life without thinking about what you're feeling and seeing and experiencing. So Yeah, I think this is the biggest problem here with thinking of yourself as the main character or as the protagonist. And today we even give this a twist. There's aesthetics and niches where if you insert yourself in a certain narrative, there's actually things to follow, like outfits, decoration, music to listen to, things that fit that specific aesthetic you're inserting yourself into. For example, dark academia, you want to get back with good grades, then you're an academic weapon and you can see yourself through this dark academia where you dress yourself as this tortured academic researcher, student, whatever, and you dress. There's a very specific way to dress. There's playlists about this. There's a whole world if you want to get into that. Even some aesthetics are associated with cities, and then people want to move to these places to live their life to their full potential. And even more interesting, we have given phases of our life names. We have an actual language around this. For example, eras, arcs, chapters, saying like, oh, I'm in my villain arc. If you're online, you know what I'm talking about. If I remember more while I'm editing, I'm gonna put more things here. But it's a whole thing, it's a whole culture, it's a whole way of thinking that's very present in Gen Z. And most of us have grown up now and we are becoming independent adults, and we face the monotony and routine of life. Living adult life with all the responsibilities makes it hard to find the whimsy and the magic around us. Adding on to this, the current state of the world is not the greatest. We constantly watch wars on our phones. There's political instability in a lot of our countries, climate change, and the cherry on top, an economic recession on our doorstep. A lot of Gen Z wonder if after university or right now if they're on the job hunt they will ever find jobs. There's many articles about this, how you can go through 500 applications before you even get one interview. I mean, those are very bad odds. So in a sense, it is obvious that we would romanticize our lives so we can find the prettier answers. Romanticizing our lives gives us a cinematic feel and a meaning to keep going, as I have said before. Another reason is that our generation is statistically proven the loneliest generation of our time, which is quite sad. Despite being the most connected, this paradox is linked to, for example, social media being so superficial, the erosion of offline social skills, and the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on social development. And this is backed by research, as I have said. And at the same time, we're also the most overstimulated generation. There's constant notifications, fast-paced content, information overloads. Our brains barely get a break nowadays. So escapism and fantasy become a form of relief from loneliness and overstimulation. In fact, daydreaming is proven to regulate anxiety, fear, and stress. Psychologists call this positive constructive daydreaming, when the imagination becomes a safe space to rehearse possibilities and regain a feeling of control. And that's exactly what main character syndrome is. It offers predictability in a world that feels chaotic, a sense of agency when everything else feels overwhelming, and a space to experiment with identity without consequence. So when you think about it, main character syndrome is not a delusion, but rather regulation. This is the positive side of things. Romanticizing your walk to the grocery store or imagining yourself in a Sofia Coppola movie is a better way to look at things, and also helps you appreciate the little small moments. It makes everything feel more intentional rather than mechanical. But again, what happens when fantasy becomes a little bit too comforting? This is the worst side, the dark side. When the fantasy becomes more appealing than real life, when people start chasing drama just to feel something, when you expect friendships and relationships to follow movie script logic, and when passive fantasy replaces active participation in your own life. And most of you must be familiar with maladaptive daydreaming. This is when the imagined world becomes more satisfying than reality itself, and people can spend hours of their day stuck in these fictional scenarios. This can actually impact their own chores and responsibilities of life. If they prefer to be in these scenarios rather than in reality, they can often neglect their own personal needs and professional needs. This shows how easy it is for escapism to go too far. And we see a similar pattern in parasocial relationships, fanfiction culture, and online self-inserts. I think this is where it all comes from. And also why POVs are so popular right now in social media or short form content. You're like POV, this and that, and everyone just puts them in their vlog so you can insert yourself into this perfect curated versions of daily routine and daily life. Also, then because people do this so much, it also became a meme. POV, you're doing this and it's funny. So what is the role of fan fiction? It plays a big role here. Self-insert narratives allow you to write yourself into the plot as the main character in a real life that doesn't feel like a stretch. And I think it's a good comparison if we think of the main character energy to also neoliberal pressure, the constant push to optimize yourself, being efficient and hustling. There's also a cultural shift. We moved from communal narratives, shared myths, shared identities, shared traditions, to individual aesthetic curation. Like, we always see these POVs about your own identity individually, and it's very like each person is this thing. You can even be in a group of friends and each one of them have their own aesthetics, which is completely fine. Again, like in my last video, everyone is different for a reason, and we don't all have to have the same aesthetics or whatever. And there is a more cultural and societal reason why main character syndrome exploded the way it did, especially for Gen Z. And I think you can guess this one if you have been around my channel for some time. I always talk about this one. I can let you guess it. Yeah, go on. If you guessed capitalism, you're so correct. Yeah, it's capitalism again. We live in a late stage capitalism where we feel replaceable and interchangeable at any time, especially with the rise of AI. AI is replacing a lot of jobs. Many companies are downsizing due to this, and it's very easy to feel like we are not enough, we are not needed, and thinking of yourself as, again, the protagonist is an amazing feeling. Work and school often feel mechanical, and the future is uncertain. None of us know how the future in 10 years is gonna look like, let's be honest. So we tend to turn to storytelling to reclaim a sense of significance. Add to this the rise of hyper-individualism, and you have the whole thing explained. We're constantly told to stand out, be unique. For example, do you want to open a business or start content creating? You're gonna go on a website for some advice. You're gonna go anywhere and they're gonna tell you, you have to find your own unique niche. Like, no, you're not gonna find a niche that's so curated and specific to you, because at this point, most markets are so saturated, you're not going to find something that's solely yours. And if you do find it, good luck, because after you open your business or start doing whatever you want, after a week or two, I'm sure 5 more people are gonna start doing the same thing as you. So yeah, it's important to be the first, yes. Is it easy? Definitely not. Meanwhile, we are also constantly comparing ourselves because, again, like I said before, in social media, everyone only posts the curated perfect version of their lives. So you're gonna be here looking for your special niche while everyone else seems to have found theirs. I mean, it's not fair. Also, I have to mention influencer culture. Everything now can be content. Your morning coffee, your commute, and even your heartbreak, which is crazy. Life becomes a performance even when you don't want it. I mean, when you see all these influencers crying about their breakups, like, why are you recording that? Anyway, when you look at it, we can't say main character syndrome is just a silly TikTok trend. It is something deeper, because also, if you've been here around in my channel, it is never not that serious. It is that serious. It is a response or even a survival mechanism to the world we live in right now. A society where meaning is hard to grasp, identity feels fragile, and every moment can be turned into spectacle. But hey, escapism is not inherently bad. Humans need imagination. The issue starts when we are living for the fantasy instead of using the fantasy to help us. All in all, romanticization can be functional. It can help you slow down, enjoy small moments, and feel grounded, but it should never replace the actual act of living. You're not supposed to stay in the aesthetic mood board forever. You're supposed to use the mood board, get inspiration, get your ambition and motivation, and go on about your life. Use it as fuel, not as a substitute. When you take the mood board and it is your life, you feel like you must live it and everything else around you, where you're so into an aesthetic that when your outfit is not matching it, you feel terrible, you feel like your day is ruined and it's not gonna be worth enjoying. No, 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 no. Please enjoy your life. I know there's bad days, but don't just take the mood board and see it as your Bible. So what you can take from this video is you don't have to romanticize your life, but you also don't have to stop doing it. It is more like a moral decision and a balance you have to implement in your life. It's a tool. Use it when it helps and drop it when it's not helping. But I think the main advice I have, and I was thinking about this, and I think it's a great way to shift your perspective from being stuck to this main character energy type of thinking, is that instead of being the main character, think of yourself as the author of your lives. The main character acts, the author writes it. The main character just follows a plot, and the author has the power to change the plot. And I think that's the most important thing. If you're unhappy, if you don't like the way your life is going, if bad things happen to you, don't just accept it. Don't just take it because, oh, I'm a main character in a sad movie. No, if you don't like being in a sad movie, then change the movie, rewrite the script, write whatever movie you want to be in. The point is, you are the one commanding your life. Of course, this is a little less poetic, but it's more realistic and can actually help you. You can still enjoy your moment, like being on a train and looking at the rain on the glass window or something. You can do all you want. You can listen to the sad playlist from time to time, but I'm also a bit against sad playlists. I can make a video about that one also, if you want. But yeah, don't make that the whole point. Don't make that the whole point of living. Life doesn't always need to feel cinematic. It just needs to feel like it's yours. And that's so cliche. Sometimes you're doing activities that look very ugly, but you can still enjoy them. Nothing has to look like it has to win an Oscar award, okay? It's gonna be okay. It's all gonna be okay. And I think that was the main point of this video. I really liked writing this and recording this. It was very fun. I enjoy this. If you also did, subscribe, comment down below your opinions. If you have more suggestions of things you'd like to see me talking about, also leave me a suggestion. I will love that also, and it will be very fun to see what you guys think I should do. And that was all. Enjoy your week or weekend. I think this is gonna come out on a Friday, so enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you next time. Bye!